Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode 181 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is roasted right here in Iowa. It's my favorite coffee. I drink it every morning. I know I say that every week, but it's the truth. I drink Couchtown Coffee literally every morning, sometimes in the afternoon. Check it out if you want. CouchtownCoffee.com. Find a coffee you like. Let them know how you want it roasted, and they'll roast it for you and ship it directly to your house. And all you have to do is just grind it up and have some of the best coffee you've ever had. At least that's my opinion. CouchtownCoffee.com. If you let them know Audible Farm sent you, they'll give you 20% off. Why? Because Couchtown Coffee is that awesome. Thanks, Couchtown. This week I'm sitting down with Alyssa Allbee, and I've had her on the podcast one other time, and she was in a group podcast. And I don't do too many of those, but she did a group podcast with Salty View about 2 years ago, almost to the day, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of just fun how things work out. So that's something kind of fun that we kind of talked about on the beginning of this. Another thing that's kind of like a preamble to this was I saw her at a jam night not too long ago, and we kind of talked again, and it was one of those things that's weird. I didn't recognize her at first, but in my defense, it has been 2 years since I've seen her, and I don't think I've seen her in. I don't know if I've seen her and like talked to her anywhere else other than at that random jam night. So it's been a while since I've seen her, and so this is a really fun episode. I get to catch up with somebody I don't talk to very much, and I had a blast doing it. It's really fun. She's a singer, and she's starting to branch out and sing with all sorts of different people, and this year is proving to be possibly one of her busier years. So best of luck to her out there. This is episode number 181 with Alyssa Allbee.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
This week, I'm sitting down with Alyssa Allbee, and you've been on the podcast before, and I think we just discussed it, but like I may have had you down as your maiden name and not as your married name, so I apologize for that first and foremost.
That's all right.
But in looking back, I also did find out that the last time you were on the podcast was almost 2 years ago to the day of like when we're sitting down right now to record this, which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, does it seem like it's been that long?
It kind of does in a way. Yeah. We only got together one time, and that was with Salty View. And I was trying to remember also when the last time it was, and I was like, it's been a while. But I didn't know it was 2 years. Yeah,
and that was the wild thing, was like I looked at it and I looked at the number it was, and I was like, oh, we're really close to being 2 years on the nose here. So I looked up the date, and I think it was March 12th, and this one's going to come out the 17th. So it's like off by like barely a week, you know.
Crazy.
But then you and I were talking a little bit before this podcast episode that like maybe the reason it seems like it's been so long was because when we were recording that, like COVID was a topic of conversation, but it wasn't something that we thought was just going to turn the world on its side.
Right. Yeah. So like we did that podcast, and we were really just kind of gearing up for what those spring and summer shows were going to be. And so you said March 12th.
Yep.
There was, I can't remember if it was April or if it was just a couple weeks after that, but we ended up booking a show. It was for like a Christmas party, and I can't remember if it was like Cargill or what, but they had booked us, and it was in March or April, and we went and we did the first show, and we were supposed to do two. And we did the first show, and the next one was going to be that following weekend because they had to split it up because they have so many employees. They did like a 2-night thing, and we had gotten a phone call just a couple of days prior, and it was like that was COVID. Like it hit, and they had to cancel the gig. Like we didn't have to do it. Like everything was shutting down. And so it's crazy everything that like transpired after we did that podcast.
That's so wild. Like I get it. Like everyone had their gigs pretty much canceled from one point going forward, but you had like a guaranteed like 2-night thing with like
Yeah.
one company. It's like a private show
Yeah.
that was like split in half. So you have this weird like, oh, they drew the line like in between two
Yes,
gigs.
it was so crazy. It would, like I said, the 2 weekends, and then within a couple of days after doing our first performance for them, they were like, "We can't do it.
Oh, wow.
They're shutting us down." And I'm like, "Holy cow!" And I think that's when we really figured out, like, not to make this all about COVID, but things were going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And looking back on it now, the amount of things that did change, especially for musicians and performers, it's crazy to think that we've lived through that.
Yeah.
And like now we're kind of, getting back out there and gearing up and hoping that it stays that way.
I feel like the music scene in the North Central Iowa area where you and I spend most of our time is stronger than ever, honestly.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
There's new bands popping up like all over the place,
Yes.
and almost every band I know of that was going up here made it through COVID, because
Yeah.
that's not the case for like a lot of like original small time bar bands that want to make like original only music,
Yeah.
like rock music. Like not all those bands made it through,
Right.
Some people had to go get different jobs and move away and things like that. And I think a lot of us were really lucky in that aspect, that a lot of us stuck around the area and continued to do what we're doing.
Oh, for sure. And I think we were all just kind of like waiting. Like we were ready to get back out there whenever they were like, it's okay. So once summer kind of rolled around me, we were still like in the thick of it, but we could be outside. And so, people wanted to get out. They wanted to be able to go to the bar or go out to eat or, have some entertainment after being locked away for like months, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So, we were ready, and I think that everyone else was kind of in that same boat. Like, once we could finally get out there and start playing, however and wherever that may be, like, we all just kind of jumped at the opportunity to do it. So I think that really helped everyone, not only us as, musicians and people in bands, but just, like, the community as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, some things change, some things stay the same. Like when it all comes down to it, before COVID, you were doing Salty Views. You're still doing that, but like before we started recording, you were telling me about a bunch of other projects you're working on. But Salty Views actually changing a little bit too as it's coming down the line. So
Yeah. So you had Scott Kirkhart a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. It's been recently that you did a podcast with him, and so he had kind of said he's working towards some different goals, and decided that he just really wasn't going to have the time to do Salty View. And so Tim and I sat down and had a long conversation of, what do we do? Do we want to continue and try to look to bring someone else in to the band and see if we can find that like person to fill Scott's void, or do we kind of want to take a break and take a step back and have some time off? And I think we both really battled with what we wanted to do for a while, and I actually told him, I was like, I think I'm going to take some time off. I wasn't really planning on doing Salty View. I've been with them this is going on 8 years now.
Yeah.
So anyone who is a musician or plays in a band knows, like, it's so rewarding and it's so fun, but, you play every weekend. You play every holiday. And so for 7 going on 8 years, I've had to miss a lot. So I wasn't really sure now that Scott was going to be gone and we were going to have to bring someone else into the band if it was something I still wanted to do. But like I said, Tim and I talked about it, and he kind of convinced me to come back. He's like, well, here's the deal. And I found someone. I'm like, okay, who'd you find?
Yeah.
Because, we're a pretty close-knit group here in the Fort Dodge community, and everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part, it's like who plays in what bands and who plays with who. So he had said that he had found someone new, and I'm like, who is it? Thinking I would know, and I didn't. He said his name is Jared Benson, and I'm like, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I don't
Where is
either.
he from? He's like, Fort Dodge. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I love that too, because like when I listen back to the other podcast, that's like Tim seems to like have this ability to just like pull somebody out and just be like, this is who's in, and like people
Yeah.
don't know each other. Like when you came in the band, they didn't know who you were really, you know.
Yeah,
They
that's crazy.
I mean, they met you through a referral, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
from somebody that did karaoke and heard you singing, which is like the
Yeah.
wildest thing ever.
I know.
Got a gig from karaoke singing.
I know, and I'm still doing it 8 years later, so obviously it worked out. But yeah, he said, do you know this guy? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of him, but he's, you know, he lives here in Fort Dodge, and he said he's really good, he's really talented, and he's just excited. And I'm like, okay. So we all got together on a Sunday afternoon and just kind of, you know, played a little bit just to see what the vibe was going to be like between everyone. I think you can kind of tell pretty like instantaneously, like if something's going to work or if it's not.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of what was holding Tim and I back, was like, we don't just want to continue with just anybody, you know. We don't want to continue and not have that perfect fit, because then it's not fun for anyone.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so
then it becomes a lot more work, honestly.
Yeah, and it is a lot of work.
I mean, it's a lot of work anyways, but
Exactly.
instead of that rewarding fun feeling, you're just almost like, oh, I got through the day finally. You know, like that's the feeling at the end of it.
And we didn't want it to be that way. So we got together, we practiced, we kind of jammed, and Tim and I were both like, yeah, this is a good fit, you know, and he's super excited. I think he's got, you know, a lot to offer. And I think people are really going to be blown away, you know, by him. He's got a different kind of voice. He plays guitar. I mean, I don't want to give like his whole like bio here, but I know.
Yeah, wait for him to do that when he's on the podcast.
Yeah. I will. I won't say anything more. I'll leave that for you to discover, because I don't want to say anything wrong either. But,
oh man.
Yeah, it's been great. And so we've been practicing together as a band, learning new tunes, you know, kind of getting him worked in, and it's been very refreshing. So we're really excited about that. And I don't know for sure, but I think our first show is going to be at the end of April. And I think we're looking at maybe the Junkyard.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just kind of as like a little first like debut, you know, just kind of get out there and have some fun. And so I'll have to keep you posted on that, but I think it's supposed to be April 30th.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying that it's kind of refreshing to have somebody new in the band, which is like the opposite side of the coin when it's like, you know, we were talking, if it's not a good fit, it seems more like it's more work, but like if it is a good fit, then it's like this weird like breath of fresh air that you like didn't know you needed or you could get, you know. And that's what I think one of the reasons I like going to those jam nights is because you play music with people that you don't normally play with, and you're like, this is actually kind of fun, you know. Some of these songs, the musicians on stage click. I mean, not every song is, you know, a banger, but, you know.
Right.
You know, but, you know, and I think that's one of the funnest things about bringing somebody new into the fold. But it is a little, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree, it's a little weird when somebody new comes in and you're like, I have no clue who this is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of learning, you know, as is to be expected, but just, you know, like with him and I singing with each other, you know, I'm kind of learning his inflections and his, you know, tone and, you know, what kind of riffs he wants to do. And versus like with Scott, you know, we sang together for like, gosh, I think almost 4 years. So after that kind of time with someone, you just kind of know.
Yeah.
You know how to blend with them. You know how to sing with them. And so, yeah, we're certainly, you know, kind of trying to find our way in a sense, but it's also falling into place very nicely.
Yeah.
So it's a good marriage between both, and it is exciting. It's definitely put, you know, what's that expression? Like wind in your sail?
Winds in the sail. Yes.
Something along those lines.
Yes.
It's just been good to have someone new, especially for Tim and I. Like, you know, it feels like kind of like a challenge, but also, I don't know.
Was there ever a thought that you two might continue on without bringing a second person, or I guess a third person in?
Yeah, not really. Not that like Tim and I wouldn't do it, but he plays, you know, lead guitar, and I don't play guitar at all. So it would just be like really hard for us to do it with just him being like the main guitar person and then me being main vocals. We're already an acoustic show. So we do a lot of, layering with vocals and what percussion we can, and then having two guitars. Like, there's just a lot that goes into it to make it seem fuller and more without being a full band. So if you start taking some of those components out, it really becomes very I don't know, like coffee shop.
Yeah.
And we like to, sing at bigger clubs and do bigger shows. And so you kind of need to have at least, 3 people. For a while we did 4. And 3 is kind of like that is as little as we'll do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see where 3 or 4 would be pretty good. Like, and I know you guys are good as a 3-piece. I don't know if we talked about it the last time. I think it was after the last episode we did. I went to go see Salty View one time. I believe you were at I think you were at Shiny Top.
Okay.
And I came in the back door, and by the time I got to like the end of the bar, I was just like, there was just a sea of people, and I was like, I'm out of here. And I took off after one song. I was like, I gotta go. There's too many people here. I mean, so you guys definitely bring the house down, and everybody loves it. And
thank you.
I mean, you guys do have a good stage show as well. That's something that shouldn't be undersold. For anybody that didn't go listen to the last episode, you guys do bring something special, not just musically but visually to the shows as well.
Sure. Yeah, that's, if you want to hear more about it, you can definitely listen to the last episode. Tim does a great job with production and lights, and he's like super into that. I like don't know anything about it. I don't really help with that part of it, but he's always buying new lights and sending me pictures, and it's like, hey, look at this, I just picked this up, or I just bought this. And I'm like, more lights? Like, we've got like 150, we're 3 people. But that's just who he is, and he loves to put on a big like production show, and I applaud him for that, because it does make us look professional, and it just makes us look a little more big time, I guess.
I agree. I think some of that also adds to, like, when you're on stage, when you feel that good about being on that stage, like, there's nothing wrong with, like you said, corner of a coffee shop, kind of just sitting in a chair, whatever, playing. But, like, even just, like, one set of lights, you're like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. But then when you start putting banks of them around you with, like, little smoke machines here and there, it's like, holy cow, this all of a sudden went to...
It's a vibe. Yeah. For sure. Like, it's a total vibe. And it helps so much, because you are going to have some shows where maybe the crowd isn't going to be into it like Shiny Top was, And so if you can have, like, the lights and the fog machine and, have that, like, feeling, it definitely helps you get there as a performer when the crowd maybe isn't quite so interactive.
Yeah, I definitely would. Yeah, I mean, it's just another aspect of the show that you can bring people in on, and that's a really cool thing too, because like to be involved with a band that does that, to like have been doing it for so long. Tim, on the last podcast when I was listening to it back, he was talking about how he's like, I'm going to downsize. And it's like
he says that every time. He never means it. I swear, he never means it.
I played a show at Shiny Top, and you guys were setting up for the next night, and yeah, it was one of those things. He just keeps bringing lights in and stuff, and it was just like, you said you were downsizing, and he was just kind of like, yeah, like.
Oh gosh, that's so funny.
It's so fun. Yeah, you guys all seem to have just like such a ball, and I'm so glad you found somebody that will fill Scott's shoes, because like the 3 of you guys seem to get along really well when I did the podcast with you. So having somebody else that's going to come in and fill that void, not just musically, but as a personality, it's going to be really fun to see how that all shakes out.
Absolutely. We're very excited about it. I know Jared's excited. It's something new, but I think it's going to be great. I'm really pumped for this summer and the shows that we're going to be doing. So, yeah, stick around, because it's going to be good. Yeah,
absolutely. I recently saw you at a jam night. You sang with your sister, Emily. She's also been on the podcast. And she's done solo shows because she plays guitar and sings at the same time.
Yes.
And does that kind of stuff. But you have also like come along with her and sang at shows with her as well.
Yeah, so we try to do that every once in a while if we can make it work. We went down to Bootleggers I don't know when this was. I think it was in February. Yeah, in February. And that was really the first time that we've gotten together and like played a show together in a really long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she just asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, sure. So we did, and we picked out some songs and practiced a little bit here and there, and it was fun. Hopefully we'll get to do it more. But I know she's crazy busy with Corey Waller and the Wicked Things.
Yeah.
She is playing tomorrow, so the 17th, St. Patty's Day.
So yeah, that'd be the day this comes out.
Yeah.
So Thursday, the 17th.
Oh, shoot. So people listen to it then.
Today. She's playing a show today.
Today, yes.
Do the magic of radio.
At Rails in Eagle Grove.
Oh, cool.
And I think Corey's going to be there as well.
Neat.
So she is still doing some solo shows here and there, but I know the summer is going to be crazy for them. They put out their dates for, quite a few shows. So hopefully it's something that we'll get to continue to do in the future, because it's a blast. I mean, there's nobody that I like singing with more than my family, especially Emily. So
yeah, one of my friends started coming to the jam nights there, and they're from out of town and whatever. So it's a couple of my friends, and one of them was just like, every girl that sings here is amazing. What's the deal with that? Like, it's so messed up. And she's like, if I ever get up there and sing, it's going to be early before anyone shows up. And it's like, I don't blame you. That's how I was playing guitar. I mean, still to an extent, that's kind of what I do. But yeah, you guys went up there and killed it. It's so much fun to listen to you guys sing so well. I remember talking to her on her episode. I was like, hey, how do you practice or whatever? And she was pretty much just like, I sing, I just walk around in my house and sing all the time or whatever. I'm assuming that's something you do as well.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you got that from your mom then.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Oh, it's
there's no formal, I've never formally practice just on my own. I'm not I'm gonna sit down and really dissect this song. It's no, I'm just gonna sing it wherever, in the car, in the shower, throughout my house. That's how I learn. That's how I teach myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to try and learn something new or perfect something, I just practice it wherever.
It still just kind of blows my mind because I mean, we talked about this on one of my other podcasts, but me not being I'm not a bad singer. I'm just not a great singer. But it never occurred to me that in order to get good at singing, you kind of have to practice singing. Right. It's it's just like a guitar or a piano or whatever. Oh, for sure.
You have to practice. I mean, I just don't think that it's the same as sitting down and practicing your guitar. I don't know. Maybe it is. I
mean, to an extent, you're kind of glued to one location, with a guitar.
Right.
You can't really drive your car and play guitar.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's what I mean.
You can belt out a few choice numbers though, if you really want to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, you have to practice. I mean, if you want to be good at anything, you have to practice. I'm not above that by any means. I definitely need practice. There's no doubt. I just do it wherever, I guess. I don't know.
So do you, I know you and your sister grew up kind of singing together, mm-hmm. and you, having an absence from singing together for however long it was, how long did you guys go without, I mean, do you guys just get together on the weekends and just sing a couple numbers while you go shopping together? And I'm just throwing out a random scenario. I understand this probably.
I mean, we'll sing in the car together and stuff, if we're hanging out, or maybe she'll come over to my house and she's like, oh, hey, I learned this new song, and she'll pick up one of the guitars and we'll kind of jam a little bit. But as far as performing together, mm-hmm. it was pretty much since she left Salty View, and that's been a while now.
So did you have any nerves that was going to be something weird, or are you just so comfortable with her, having sang with her for since teenage years or before and on,
Yeah. No, I wasn't really nervous to sing with her again, because we just know each other. Kind of when I talked about I sang with Scott for 4 years. I just kind of know what he's going to do with his voice. I feel me and Emily definitely share that as well. We just kind of know what each other is going to do. So I wasn't nervous about that. I just didn't want to make her sound bad at her own show. I was oh gosh, these are her songs. This is what she's been practicing. I'm just here kind of filling in and in hanging out. So I'm like, I just don't want to suck. That was the only thing I was worried about.
Oh my gosh, that is so much how I felt like on some of the first gigs I ever went along with, like for other people. Because I mean, that's kind of how I started playing music with other people. As I was kind of like a hired gun, but like I just like showed up and I'm like, I'm just adding extra notes on the side on a guitar, and I just try to stay out of the way and not get noticed and do anything weird.
Right, enough to like be there, so like you're adding, but like
you're
not enough to be like noticed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna, especially not like visually too. I'm not going out there in like leather pants and stuff or something, with like eyeshadow or whatever. So you and your sister, I mean, like I would love to see you guys sing and play again. I was not at the Bootleggers show, but I did see you guys at a recent jam night, which, like I said, it was so fun.
Oh, thanks.
It just kind of blows everyone away, like, and it's not to say that like the other people there aren't good singers, but it was very good,
Thank you.
And it's not the only thing you're doing though, too. You've got other kind of side project going on, don't you?
Yeah. So speaking of singing with family, so I have another sister as well, and her name is Shanae, and she lives in Eagle Grove, and she and my mom's name is Tammy, they are both going to be singing with me for an upcoming Easter show that we're doing with Brady O'Brien Live.
Nice.
Yeah. So before I like plug that, how I know Brady is he did some lights for us a couple of years ago, and that's kind of how he like entered into like the music scene, like for me. Like I just knew that he did lights.
That's actually how I knew him too.
Yeah.
Like a couple people had hired him for some random shows for lights, and it was just like, what the hell is this, like a WWE like super pro like
so
crazy
true.
light show going on here? What is this?
It's so true. But of course, Tim being into that like production thing, he was all for it. So I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, more lights.
Yeah.
What's new?
Exactly. Yep.
But I didn't know anything else about like this kid. So it was brought to my attention that he plays piano. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's something else. I think Scott told me that, like, and I was just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, what?
Yeah, and I was like, all right, like, and I took it as like, oh, he just like kind of, plays.
That's what I thought
but
too.
not like how he actually, like, this kid is sick. Like, he's so talented, and at like such a young age too. And so I had gotten asked, I think it was by Scott actually, if I wanted to sing at his Christmas show.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I was like, I don't really want to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I totally get it. From the onset, when somebody said that he was going to do a Christmas show, I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
could be neat. Like I like those variety shows they have on TV, like in the 70s when it would just be like people out there like walking around on a stage. And
I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I didn't even give it like any thought really. And he's like, come on, it's one song, it's gonna be really good.
I want to put a pin in this real quick.
Okay.
We're gonna sidetrack for a second. Christmas music, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes?
Definite yes for me.
You never worked retail, I'm assuming?
I did work retail. But I'm that person that will like, as soon as the Christmas decorations start coming out, like end of October, November, like my tree is up, my house is decorated, I'm bumping the Christmas tunes, like the whole 9 yards. Like that's just me. I love Christmas time. Love Christmas music.
Okay, so.
But I didn't want to do the show. I was like, nah, I'm good. I've got enough going on.
Well, yeah, I mean.
And Scott's like, come on, just do it. It's one song. It'll be cool. It's going to be this big thing. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So we do it. We come here to practice. And I hear Brady like actually play the piano for the first time. And I was like blown away, like almost in tears, like how talented he is and like how good it was. I was like, I didn't know you played like this.
It's so wild when you're just like, this guy's really good with lights. And I mean really good. And he also plays piano. And it's like, well, I think this, as good as his light show is, I almost feel like you should flip-flop.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh, you're that good. You're just as good at the piano as you are at the lights.
It's so true. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I signed up for it. We did the Christmas show. I had a great time. It was super fun. And Brady was like, I didn't like really know how like good you were. This way he told me. And like, these are his words, not me. Mm-hmm. I'm not tooting my own horn by any means. But he was like, I didn't really know how like good you were. He's like, do you want to do any more shows with me? And I was like, sure. I didn't really know what that meant. So he's like, this Easter show, I want to do it at this church, and I want you and like your family to sing. And so that's kind of how all of that transpired. So now
cool.
we've got my mom, Tammy, and my sister, Shanae. And we're all singing. There's a few other like special guests as well that are going to be at this, but I saved the information because I didn't want to get it wrong. So let me.
All right, so I'm gonna go on a sidetrack here while you're looking that up. If I feel like I went into that Christmas show the same way you did, I was just kind of like, I mean, like I said it already, I was just kind of like, Christmas show could be cool.
Yeah.
Might be cool. Like that's about like all the farther my brain went with it, and then when I saw pictures of it,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yes. It was super fun. It was such a big production. There was a lot of like local musicians that made up like the band, and it was just really cool to see, and it was cool to be a part of it. I think it was a free will donation. So once again, like something like that people can get out and be a part of and see and not have to pay, $10, $12, $20, you know. It's just nice to have that available for the community. So Brady does a great job of making these like big productions feel and seem like more elaborate than like what you would typically see like in Fort Dodge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that's also like some of the thing is he's been doing it long enough and he's well versed enough in it, I think, now that he understands that there is some complexity and simplicity. So like it's one of those things when you're standing around it, you're like, it's like, oh, there's not much stuff up here, but there sure is a lot of junk up here. And then when somebody takes a picture of it, you're like, that created the best looking picture I've ever seen in my entire life. So like he's got an eye for that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's something special, So once again, I don't know if you'll be able to find any of the pictures. They're probably buried somewhere in the history of Facebook somewhere on there.
I think you can go to, he has a website, and I think he's got a Facebook page too. I think it's just Brady O'Brien Live. And so you can go to either of those, and he's got like slideshows of all the shows or pictures of all the shows that he's done. And there's some amazing stuff on there. So, and he also puts like all of his upcoming shows too.
Nice.
So this one that we're going to be doing is going to be on April 8th. It's a Friday, and it's called A Cross and a Crown. And it is at the Trinity United Methodist Church. So that is the church that's like right across the street from Fort Dodge Senior High. Okay. So it's in that kind of area, if you guys want to check it out. But it is at 7 o'clock. Let's see, 838 North 25th Street, Fort Dodge. So that's going to be really fun. I'm super excited to sing with my mom and my sister. Like we talked about forever, I get to sing with Emily quite a bit, even if it's just for fun. Mm-hmm. So I don't get to sing with my mom and my other sister that much. So this was a really fun opportunity for us to all get together, put on this Easter show. It's going to be all Christian music, which is also something that is different for me to be able to perform and enjoy and do music on that level too.
I honestly don't mind it one bit.
Yeah.
I started out with church music. I think we talked about that on the last episode.
Yeah.
But I love it.
It's so fun to just kind of go down different avenues. I typically sing country or like classic rock or like poppy stuff. And so to kind of do this and do a full-on Easter show with just like all Christian music, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited. So it's free will donation. It's going to be a really big production inside the church as well. Tons of lights.
Oh my
Lots
gosh,
of different
I can only
acts.
imagine.
Yeah, it's not just going to be me and my mom and my sister. There's going to be other people there within the community that are going to be singing and performing, and local musicians. So it's going to be good.
And this is a packed community full of talented people. It never ceases to amaze me. Like I always call back to jam night, but like you never know who's going to walk through those doors. You never know who's going to be playing in town. There's enough people here that are talented enough that other areas are starting to notice, and people are starting to come in to Fort Dodge to play shows. You know, which is cool because a lot of the people who are coming in are just as talented. So like, it's really cool. I wish hindsight wasn't 2020. I wished I would have gone to that Christmas show and not just kind of. Maybe I had a show going on. I don't know, but like, I didn't go to it, so I'm definitely going to look into this Easter show to check it out, because if the production is, if it's on par with the Christmas one, you absolutely have to go.
Yes, I think it's going to be great. I don't think you're going to regret it. It's a Friday night. I know people have things going on, but it's such a great way to just go and share in this music and with the people around you. And right before Easter, I think it's just going to be great. I think people are really going to enjoy it if they go. If you don't get a chance to go to this one, we are going to be doing a concert this summer, July 15th. It's going to kind of be like a rock, like a classic rock, kind of classic pop type vibe. But we're doing it out at the Veterans Memorial Park at Kennedy.
Okay.
It's going to be an outside. There's going to be fireworks. There's going to be a lot of stuff. It's going to be cool. And because the Christmas show went over so well, we're actually going to do a little Christmas tour, if you will. So Brady O'Brien Live has been setting dates throughout the Midwest from like, I think November 30th through December 18th. We're going to kind of be traveling all over the Midwest, putting on a Christmas show for like different venues in different cities.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I'm kind of like nervous to do that, but it's going to be really fun and something totally different than, you know, Salty View, you know, what I have primarily done in the last 8 years. So it's kind of fun to try something different. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for you guys to be able to catch Brady O'Brien Live and myself.
I think on the last podcast we were talking, you said you kind of first started singing at a church. Do you feel that playing with Brady kind of harkens back to that a little bit, or is there any similarity to that? Being like, you know, playing somewhat Christian music and things like that, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, I grew up singing in church, leading worship, singing in youth group, things like that, special music with my family, with my mom and my sisters. So this is definitely kind of like, stepping back into that a little bit, which is something that I haven't done in a really long time. So it's been a lot of fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to the show. But yeah, I mean, playing with Brady is he's so talented, and he just does a great job of bringing everyone together. So yeah, it's going to be good.
So you have shows booked with him. No shows booked with your sister, but that's because she's also doing stuff on the side as well. Yes,
she's so busy, and so am I. I mean, I'm hoping that we'll get something. I'll certainly let you know if we do.
Absolutely.
Sometime in the future, but yeah.
And then Salty View.
Salty View.
I think it's fun that you guys decided to keep going. Like, it would have been weird to have, even if you guys were just like, we're going to take the summer off, you know, it would have just been so weird to have like that void. I mean, it would have opened up a lot of opportunities for other bands to play. Yeah. Because, I mean, you guys play a lot of shows and a lot of, I don't want to be like, hey, but you play what I would call like a lot of high profile venues.
Are we like bullying other people?
No, I'm just saying like you guys just.
I feel bad now.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean like you guys play at bigger, what I would call like the bigger venues and stuff like that, or like it's taken a long time to get there, I will tell you that. Understandable. From when I first started, there's definitely times where, like, I think it was in like our first year, like me and Emily and Tim, and this was Paul at the time. It was our first year, and there was multiple shows where we would go and there would be like 5 people in the crowd and like 2 of them were my parents. So I'm like, this is not been there. But now, to look at the progress that we've made, it's huge, and it's rewarding, and it's exciting, and it definitely does make you want to keep pushing forward. Another reason why we decided to let's just see if we can find someone else and make it work, and we stumbled upon Jared, and he's just been like this kind of perfect storm for us. This year is the 20th anniversary of like Salty View, like all together. Cool. Yeah, so like from when Tim and Mike started,
this will be the 20th year.
That's wild.
Yeah.
We got to get some merch for that. Give me that
I
Salty View
know.
20 year something shirt.
I know. We should do like a thing where we get all of like the former like band members like
Oh my gosh.
and do like something. I don't know. That'd be cool because there's been so many people who have come into Salty View and they've like all just kind of like left their mark, and like it's just the fact that it's gone for this long, 20 years, like that's a big deal.
Yeah, if you don't do some sort of reunion show for 20, you absolutely have to for 25.
Right?
I don't know how long the Pork Tornadoes have been going. I don't know if you know who that is, but they're like a cover band, probably the cover band in Iowa, I guess.
For sure.
But they did a reunion show, and I can't remember where that was at, but they sold the place out, just insane. Like the show was nuts, and I feel like that could be something that's very viable for Salty View.
It could just be something fun, too, to try to get all the people who've been a part of Salty View kind of back. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, Pork Tornadoes. I went to school at UNI, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But they were like the house band in downtown Cedar Falls. I can't remember what the bar was called because it's been a while. But yeah, I know who they are because I used to go there like every Wednesday night.
Oh, nice.
And watch the Pork Tornadoes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun guys. I got to open up for them last year in Eagle Grove when they played there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was tons of fun. So, I mean, that was
cool.
Check that off the bucket list. Opened up for Pork Tornadoes. Check. All right.
That's awesome.
Yep. So, I mean, I forgot where we were talking about Pork Tornadoes. Oh, doing a reunion show. That's what it is. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like changing members in a band it's even if it's easy, it's not easy,
Right.
And then you also have to like think like, do we have to like backtrack and then ramp up to go forward again? Like, is it going to be one of those things? Do we have to back up the car in order and gun it now to get going? There's all those types of things, but having been going for 20 years is insanity, and it's not like he's had a million lineup changes, but he's had a decent amount.
Yeah. I mean, even just the time that I've been in the band. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this Jared, I think, is like the 6th person.
Yeah, so about, every 2 years or something.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people come and go, and that's totally cool. It's not for everyone, or maybe they want to try something else. Maybe being with Salty View was like the reset that they needed, to do something else, or maybe it was just like fun to get with different people and jam with different people, or whatever it is. I mean, it's cool that we've had different people come, and like I said, they've all like left their mark. Everyone knows like that time frame that it was like, oh, it was this person, or it was these 4 or these 3, and I think that's cool. So
yeah, I'm sure everything changes just a little bit when someone new comes in, but you also, when that person leaves, you still keep some of that stuff and bring it to the next iteration of what's going on, which could, I guess, oh man, you should definitely put a bug in his ear about doing that. I know,
we should. I didn't even really think about it until we just started talking. I'm like, that could be cool.
That's definitely a thing. Okay, whoever's listening to this, hit up Tim and be like, hey, reunion show. Get some merch. Let's do this. Okay, we should. We're not very good at doing merch. Like, we always say we're going to, and then like we don't. Merch is such a tough game. I mean, like, you're already hauling everything, and I guess what's one more box, but it's like, it's another box. I know. Like, at that point, it's just like, I don't want to bring another. I know. We did do shirts when we played for the Downtown Country Jam, and they went over great. And we have people that ask for shirts a lot. We just don't have any. Yeah. So maybe this is a good opportunity to buy some merch and do something with it. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a company in town that does it. They should pay me money and I'll sponsor them. No, I'm just kidding. No, but there's a company in town that does like screen printing for people, and they'll also, depending on the amount of interest you can draw, like they'll open up like online shops for small amounts of time. Cool. So you can just be like, hey, I've got a shop here. If you want to buy a shirt, you buy it through them, and then they'll, after a month, they just print them all off and ship them out to whoever ordered them, and then it's so it's kind of like a pre-sale type deal. Yeah. So that's a possibility too for anybody out there. Just hit up like a screen printing company and see if they'll do like a shop. If merch is something that you don't want to drag places, you can always redirect people somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there is nothing worse than being like, I got these shirts and then I did another printing of them. They don't look exactly the same or something.
Right.
And, you know, I'm out of extra larges. I'm always out of larges. You know, it's always seems to
It is definitely like its own like business, like for sure. Like aside from the band, it is like its own entity, and it does take a lot of work, you know, to push that merch at shows and have someone, you know, constantly selling or trying to sell on your breaks. I mean, it can be hard. So, I mean, I applaud people who do it. I mean, I would love Salty View to do it. Maybe I'll just have to bug Tim a little bit more.
Yeah, sounds like we got a lot to talk to him about.
And maybe that's something that we'll do. So,
yeah, the merch game is a tough one, and I've talked to people that even are just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna bring it ever. Like I used to. I'm tired of it. I'm not doing it anymore. And it's like I get it. I mean, you're leaving money on the table. There's so many bands around here. I would buy their merch and wear it everywhere I went. You know, but
that's awesome.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, let's see. Okay, Audible Farm shirt. Gross. I mean, it's nice because I'm wearing my own shirt. You should buy one. They're available on the Audible Farm shop online. But yeah, I got like a Vinny and the Night Prowlers hat on, so I always try to like wear something from somebody else, somewhere else when I go. Like,
that's awesome.
Some people think it looks a little hokey. Like I don't know. I always have a debate in my own mind. Like, if you're wearing somebody else's merch while playing a show somewhere, well, like, what do you think? Do you think it looks hokey, or do you think it doesn't? Like,
oh man, I don't know. I like to buy merch. I really do. And I love to buy them at like concerts and stuff like that. Like, I will always buy at least a koozie, but normally a shirt.
Yep.
And my husband will always be like, why? It's like $50 for that shirt. And I'm like, it's just a thing.
Yep.
Like, I just have to do it. Like, I'm here. It's the experience. It's the vibe. Like, I just need to buy the t-shirt. But I think wear whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah, true. I mean, oh man, I recently watched a video on YouTube that like this guy, that was pretty much what the topic was. And the guy talked for like 15 minutes about it. And it was, I don't know, he drew the line and pretty much said, don't do that. Just try to like look professional when you're on stage. And it's like, okay, I don't know why somebody else's stuff isn't professional. Like all of punk rock decided they were going to do it, and it seemed to work out for them, you know. But
well, I mean, I don't think you should go on stage and like look like a total dirtbag. I mean, if that's your vibe and that's what you want to do, like, I mean, fine, I guess. But
I guess if everybody in the band's doing it, then
right,
then
you got to
look.
Yep, you're looking the part.
Yep, that's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, is what that is. No, I don't know. And that's something else I think that you guys in Salty View have the ability to pull off. And I'm not trying to be like, you guys have good fashion sense or whatever, but you guys do look the part though when you're up there, you know, singing and whatever.
Yeah, I try. I mean, you should see some of my outfits back when I first started.
Well,
oh shoot.
Okay, so here's something. I'm going to bring up like a weird, touchy subject. It's got to be weird for a woman in music, especially when you're just like, I got to go out there and sing in front of people, and you probably have to draw the line where it's just like, I have to wear something that looks this way, but not too much this way. Everybody probably understands what I'm getting at, but like,
oh, it's so true.
It's probably like a weird mental game of chess you have to play with yourself by the time you get out there, you know?
It really is, like, in a sense. I mean, it is hard. Maybe it's just me, because like I will try on 20 different outfits before I like go back to the first one I tried on and be like, this will work. That is 100% me. But it's hard for me to like find an outfit that I'm like, okay, I'm good with this on stage, because there are certain things that you don't want to wear. You're never gonna catch me like in like a short dress or like a short skirt or like anything along the lines when I'm on stage. Like, it just ain't gonna happen.
So you guys do a lot of like, I mean, it's not primarily this, but there's a lot of like 80s kind of rock type stuff in there. And so do you feel that like when you're dressed, you know, I'm just hypothetically speaking, do you feel like when you're dressing up for these shows, you're like, I kind of have to dip into that era of stuff a little bit? I mean, like, you're not like teasing your hair up and stuff, you know? Like,
I would.
Oh, I would too if I had it. Oh, I'm not lying. I miss my hair.
I don't know. I mean, I guess like if it calls for it, maybe. I don't know. I kind of just wear whatever I want, like within reason. Like, I want to look nice. I want to look professional, but I don't want to look
like a caricature.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like I
Like
wanna
this person put a costume on and came out
I
here.
want to look cool, okay? I don't think I pull that off every time, but that's the goal. I just want to look cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we were talking about that actually before the podcast. Yeah. Oh man. I don't always dress up when I go out places, and
I know, but sometimes I think that's like cool. Like I said, like
see, even that's kind of cool.
like if I went to a concert and I can't remember who was playing, but the guitar player was wearing just like whitewashed jeans and like a 90s like Garth Brooks like concert t-shirt, and I was like, that's sick. He looks cool.
Oh, there you go. There you go. The
I'm
concert
like, he
shirt.
looks cool. I'm like, can I do that? Can I pull that on?
There you go.
And look cool? Like, I don't know.
So I was in a metal band once, and they were very fervent on saying that we had to like look a certain way, which I get, you know, because like they were going for a certain thing, and I joined the band, so I have to follow suit. So they're like, look metal or whatever, but they would give me these weird critiques on like, this isn't metal enough, and that's weird or whatever. Like, I can see that your black shirt and your black jeans aren't the same color of black. You know, I mean, it was, and I get it. Like, everything they brought up was kind of like valid points, but I was like, well, what do you want me to do? And they were just like, well, just pick like some of your favorite metal bands and dress like them. So I like sent them like weird pictures. I was like, well, how about like Kiss and then Anthrax from the early 90s? Like Anthrax from the early 90s looked like they were going to a beach volleyball tournament.
Right.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just like, do you want me to look like these guys? They played some pretty heavy metal, you know, like. But I don't know.
Geez.
So there's this weird thing where you kind of do feel like you have to fit the part, but at the same time you don't. Like we talked about, you don't want to have people just be like, that's cliche, you know, or whatever.
Right. That's why it's like, you know what? Like I said, I just wear what you want, because someone's always going to say something.
Oh my gosh.
Someone's always going to have something to say. And so it's like, just whatever you're comfortable in, whatever you feel like says, like, this is me. Like, that's what you should wear, in my opinion. Like
Absolutely.
I said, there really shouldn't have to be a ton of rules.
Yeah. And I feel like that's another one of the fun things about around here. We talked about it. I talk about it probably about every third week on the podcast, but everyone in the scene around here gets along with each other so well that like there's nobody that's just like, don't like this person because they wear those shoes, or like there's no like weird like, you know, or whatever. So nobody's drawing the line based on like that kind of stuff. And I mean, like, I think we all understand you can't just go up there and dress like a slob. Once again, unless everyone's doing it and that's the look you're going for.
Right. No, I mean, you're never going to see me do that.
I'm gonna start that band.
Like,
it's just sweatpants and hoodies.
We'll call it like the slobs. Like, just
The slobs.
That's it.
I'm in.
No, I will always go to a show like full hair, full makeup, and something that makes me feel comfortable and confident and like, this is my vibe, you know. But I'm never gonna. I wouldn't show up like I am right now. Well,
that is what it is.
On stage, but I mean,
I don't know. I that's like comes back to like, it's a performance, and that's something that I have fought with a lot as a musician myself. Like I played in a punk band, and it's just like, no rules, do whatever you want. I can wear Asics on stage and nobody says anything, but like metal band, it's just like, you better have a pair of boots, you know. And then somebody yells at you because your black Chucks aren't metal enough, you know. It's like, and it's like, I once again, I get it. It's like, it's my fault, but at the same time, it is. There's nobody around here saying that, as long as you're not, you know, going too far one way. Like I said, like I will just come back to the slobs. I am so going to start that band. It sounds so comfortable. We'll all sit up there in recliners and play music.
Recliners and our yoga pants and tennis shoes and
the gimmick. It's
a
gonna be the gimmick. I'm in. All right, so we'll need a backup singer. You in?
I'm down. I'll see if I can work it in my schedule.
Backup singer? You're gonna be lead singer. I'm not singing anything.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, we were talking on the first podcast like 2 years ago when you first started with Salty View. It was kind of like it's new. It was new to you to like kind of harmonize with people as much, and like now that you're years and years into it, when I heard you singing with your sister, I assume that you guys kind of practiced a little bit to some extent some of those songs, so you kind of knew what you were doing going into it. But like with a new person, is it easy to find harmony still? I mean, that's something I feel like when we talked about on the last podcast, you guys were pretty much like, oh, we all sit down and pretty much just converse, like you're taking this part and you're taking this part and you're taking this part, and away we go, and you kind of just know where it's going. But is it weird when you bring somebody else in?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, you talked earlier about how you just don't always know where they're going to go with what they're doing. But
yeah, I mean, definitely, there's some practice that, needs to happen with that. But, he's going to sing, if Jared's singing and it's his song and he's singing the melody, like, I can find the harmony. It's like, at least one of them. There's going to be multiple, but it's like, I can at least find one. And as long as he is singing the melody, like, it typically is sung, then for, I would say 95% of the song, it's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. We're going to mesh and it's going to work out. But if he does like a different kind of run, or maybe he wants to go higher instead of lower or something like that, like, and I don't know it could be a train wreck.
Yeah, I mean that's I feel like the weird benefit of singing by yourself is it's like, if I want to stretch this out and like go almost crooner style with it and slop the lyrics, smush them together here and accordion them out there, I can do that. But if you're singing harmony with someone, you don't have that luxury at all.
You don't. It's so true. Like, I mean, and even when Emily and I sing together, like, she'll just tell me, like, hey, on this part, I do this. I'm like, cool, I'm not going to sing while you do that. Like, but when she sings solo, or anyone who just like does their own solo shows, like, you do have that luxury to be creative and do as much or as little as you want, and nothing's going to mess with that. Mm-hmm. When you're in a band setting and you're trying to find, 2, 3, 4 harmonies, or you have, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are all trying to harmonize together, it really does have to be a lot more structured. So you don't get quite as much like creative freedom, I feel like. But you also get a different sound.
Yeah.
So it's give and take, I guess.
On the last episode, Scott was talking about how sometimes he takes the high parts. So,
yeah.
You gonna be taking more high parts now, or we got somebody that can?
I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, we're still kind of finding our way, but it's been a really good just marriage of all three of us, like, so far, and what we've accomplished in such a small amount of time.
Oh yeah.
Gets me super excited for what we can do once we get like those basic things down. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited too. I'm excited for that, and I'm also excited to maybe see the Easter show.
Yes.
I gotta double check on that one again.
Definitely.
Do you have it handy, the date of that? Do you remember what day it was?
Yes,
because
it's Friday, April 8th.
I think that's right.
Yes, I'm looking right here. Yes, Friday, April 8th at 7 o'clock.
Boom. That's going to be a killer show.
It's going to be fun, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I mean, we kind of ended this podcast the same way we started. I mean, because we got just about an hour in here.
Perfect.
But it's I mean, singing is your talent, and it wows me because it's something that it seems so easy.
Oh, thank you.
But it is not, I mean, it's weird to me because everybody... I think your sister might have been the one that pointed this out to me, actually. But like you walk around and talk all day long, so you use your voice all day long.
Yeah.
And then when you hear singing, you're like, I should be able to do that because it's just your voice.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're walking around playing guitar all day long,
Right.
So you have to but you're also, I think the way she put it is like, you're not walking around singing everything to everyone either. And it's like,
so true. Wouldn't that be fun though? I would.
Oh, it'd be horrible. I'd be really bad at communicating. I'd have the worst podcast ever.
Like every day is a musical. That'd be fun.
That would be kind of fun. Especially if they got like extra cheesy and campy about it. Like some of the stuff, it's like dudes with grease in their hair, like combing the sides of it and stuff, just snapping. And it's like, what are these guys angry about? And they just sing you a show tune about what's making them mad. My union strikes would be so nice.
Oh my gosh. That'd be great.
Oh, it's hilarious. All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to go over on the podcast? Well,
gosh.
I feel like for some reason feel like we're missing one topic that we talked about beforehand, but I also might not.
I don't know. I feel like we've covered a lot. We've gone over a lot of different things. I don't know if I'm missing anything.
All right.
It'll hit us at like 2 a.m. and we'll be like, oh, that was it.
That was it right there. Well, I'll drop some links down below, and if you think of anything else, I can always add some more links down below. So
awesome.
Everything will be in the description section. Is there an event for that Facebook event for the Easter show?
I think so. I think you can go to Brady O'Brien Live on Facebook. And you should be able to see like the flyer that has all the information on it. I know St. Ed's Catholic school, like they posted about it. So, and hopefully there will be flyers. It's supposed to be on the radio here, I think, very soon too, just as kind of like a public service announcement type thing.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll try to share it on my Facebook wall and try to get the information out there. So anyone who wants to come is more than welcome to come. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. I'll put the Salty View links down below, and if I can find an event link for that, I'll put it down below as well.
That'd be great. Well, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Yes, this was very fun. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
There it is, ladies and gents. Another fun episode of the Audible Farm podcast. You know what the really crazy thing is? I'm not 100% sure if Alyssa and I have ever really had a conversation in public or like just randomly seeing each other in passing. It's always a lot of niceties, and we always just kind of say hi to each other. And I think it's just because our paths don't really cross too much. A lot of times when she's playing shows, I'm playing shows. Or the random one that I ended up making it to that I talked about in this episode, the Salty View show, is so packed I was just like, I gotta get out of here. So like, and then, if I go to see her play her sing, she's gonna be up on stage singing, so I won't be able to talk to her anyways. So it is kind of fun randomly running into her and then bringing her back on the podcast within a week. So that was really, really fun. And it's also pretty crazy that it was almost 2 years to the day that was how it all worked out. So pretty wild stuff. I had a great time sitting down talking with her. I've got Salty Views information down below. If I can find any more information on that April event that's coming up, I'll put it down below as well. If not, just keep a lookout for that. That's going to be a wild show. Brady O'Brien knows what he's doing. Check it out. I just hope, I hope I can go to it, at least just to see some of it, just to go check it out in person. The pictures are absolutely marvelous. I bet it's just as awe-striking in person. So it's really cool that Alyssa's going to be going out there doing all this. I didn't know she was going to be out there doing all of this stuff. I knew that she sang with Salty View. Randomly, she had a show with her sister. Hope that's a thing that can keep going on in the future. Those two, I saw them singing at Jam Night, and wow, very good stuff. It's one of those things when I say it all the time. I'm a passable singer. I can sing if I have to, but I'm not the greatest singer. And when it's really apparent when you stand around people that can sing really well. And hats off to those two. And I think it'd be pretty cool to go see their whole family sing. So, like she said, that the third sister and the mom are going to be with her at that show on Easter. So I can't wait for that. Hopefully I can go to it. And you guys should check it out too. Otherwise, go see Salty View. And if you guys are looking for a little bit more on what we kind of referenced, there is another episode with everyone from Salty View that was in it at the time. So check that one out as well. You get a little bit more backstory on Alyssa in that one. I re-listened to that one just recently. It was a very fun episode. I liked it. So thank you guys for listening this week. Check out everything at audiblefarm.com. Otherwise, there is the Audible Farm shop. Shop.audiblefarm.com will take you right to the shop. There is some t-shirts. There are no hoodies left. There are stickers. And now it's like pretty much past hoodie season. Everyone's been asking for them. I didn't get them. I apologize. Otherwise, the Patreon, you can check out the Patreon, $1 a month. Watch all the video versions of the podcast. It's, like I said, just $1 a month. Otherwise, the video versions are always free. All right, I'm out of here for this week, guys. I'll talk to you later. Peace.